Today is January 22nd, 2025, and it has snowed in South Alabama. And such an unusual time, I figured I'd get it captured in the window there. The day of the Lord. Specifically, we are looking in Isaiah, but a topic this big cannot be really undertaken without looking at the whole of Scripture. So the context is that we humans have drifted far away from the Lord by our pride and our self-service and our mirage of mastery over this domain. And few are willing to admit that any day as belonging to, dedicated, owned by, or consecrated for anything or anybody except our own purposes and interests. So a measurement of time, a span of 24 hours. Measuring seems to be something man likes to do. Acknowledging the source of the product seems to be less important to man than getting his from the product and the counting. So we make the most of our day. Some of us get paid according to the hours we work. There's the business of time management. Time can get away from us. We can run out of it. Our choices give us the phrase, "I don't have time," or "let me make some time for you." But all these are just how we have accommodated for these days that we think we have. There is a prayer that we ask the Lord to help us know the value of our days. Numbering our days empowered the worship song, 10,000 Reasons. Yes, our days are numbered and the exact figure is a mystery and is not for us to know. In a life of acknowledging the Lord, there are many directions we could take in considering days. Creation was the definition of the day by the ruling of the sun until it comes back to almost the same spot, indistinguishable from yesterday. Sabbath day is one of the biggest principles of considering days in the whole context of scriptures. And I believe that this should be paid more attention to so that we folks who are considered ourselves God-honoring, we might more reflect on the value of a day. So God himself has been attributed the name Ancient of Days. The resurrection of Christ was marked by the third day, and his coming was given an unknown and yet certain day, and that leaves us with the theological definition of the day of anticipation and waiting, which is called today. It is the day of salvation. So, what are we waiting for? We wait for the Lord to return because we've gotten to know him well enough without seeing him face to face, and we anticipate. There are lots of things that we have seen that are unjust. We may have fought for freedom, for rights, or justice, but we have found that we can only rely upon the Lord for the resolution of that injustice. So we can wait on justice and the justice that day brings. My theological views that the outplay of the course of all the collective days are in God's hands. Even if this were not my theological view, it would still be true. There is a picture given in Scripture of the culmination of time when everything comes to an end. And all that the life that we know it ceases and life will change into other forms and states. This is the stage of completion and finality when justice will be done once and for all. All secrets will be exposed. All troubles done. All bad will be crushed and good will prevail. And there will be rest. And all of this optimism and hope is faceted in this one phrase, the day of the Lord. Okay, specifically in Isaiah, we have snapshots of the day of the Lord, possibly occurring cyclically rather than just ultimately. In other words, sometimes the day of the Lord might come around more than once, in more than once in a lifetime. For instance, in the book of Isaiah, there were judgments, and the day of the Lord was when the Lord would bring about his judgment upon that particular nation. That's the cycle. And ultimate is throughout the whole of the universe and the whole of creation, the whole of the nations. Either way, the Lord is the ruler of all days, and he is to be praised as long as it is called today. Some people are hoping for something more specific than that, yet the same certainty that we have, each have only limited days, as represented by the dash between the dates of our birth and the dates of our last day on our gravestones. So we don't know everything yet, and perhaps we never will, but we have to act upon the information that we have available to us. But what we have to base our direction and decision on are from what we see, hear, and understand about God. And what you receive, it's going to have to be enough. And aside from guidance and the hand of the Lord teaching us, we just have to be content with what we can see, hear, and understand right now, right here, in today. So, on to the text. I have a Bible here. There's some big picture chapters that you probably just need to read about the day of the Lord. One is Joel chapter 2. Just read the whole thing. It's good. And then read Acts chapter 2 because they kind of play hand in hand. Amos chapter 5 verses 15 through 24 is a passage that contains a segment from a famous speech by Martin Luther King Jr. Let justice roll down like waters. But like much of prophecy, it is closer to warning and doom than it is comfort and encouragement. Because we live in a time where comfort and encouragement are to be chosen, and warnings and doom are classified as downers and wished away. One of my most adored features of the Lord has been wonder and marvel of his creation that he has invited us to enjoy. I love the Bible and all its complexities, and my temperament is generally easygoing and creative, yet it cannot be missed that part of the mystery and the unknowns about God are absolutely frightening and devastating. And these are all encaptured in Day of the Lord. Another theme that crosses over right here, Day of the Lord, DOTL, is fear of the Lord, FOTL. So the fear of the Lord is not uncommon in our Christian culture to use verses like, perfect love casts out fear, and God is love, therefore there's no fear in God. You don't have to fear God. No, this is a tragic misreading. As much as I would like to be the optimistic guy and the prosperity, I'd like to affirm the prosperity gospel, but it is wrongly picking and choosing and leaving out the judgment and gloom of God, of a God who is capable of utter destruction and vengeance, and it is coming. So also read John chapter 6 and note that the Lord is putting a placeholder in on the day that will be the last, and he will raise them up on that day. And finally, from Isaiah, there are two chapters I want to look at. Isaiah 2:11 and 12. The haughty looks of man shall be brought low, and the lofty pride of men shall be humbled, and the Lord alone will be exalted in that day. For the Lord of hosts has a day against all that is proud and lofty, against all that is lifted up, and it shall be brought low. See, these are principles. These are principles of the bipolar reversal. Whatever is high in this day and age is going to be brought low. Whatever is low in this day and age may be brought high. And that is the good news of the day of the Lord, because things are going to get their comeuppance. Isaiah 13. And I'm going to skip some passages, but the thought is contained here. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation, and to destroy its sinners from it. And I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. I will put an end to the pomp of the arrogant, and lay low the pompous pride of the ruthless. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken out of its place at the wrath of the Lord of hosts in the day of his fierce anger. The day of the Lord, from the book of Isaiah. May the readers understand and be blessed.